Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to finish off what we started previously, because the other day I went and showed you the FAQ for White Flare. So today we need to talk about the FAQ for Black Bolt. These sets are of course out now over in Japan, and you know the deal, if you're going to play the game, you need to know the rules. And of course we are splitting this into two because, well, Japan's FAQ generally tends to be a little more comprehensive, a little more full-on than the FAQ that we get over in the West, and I want to make sure we get through everything we need to get through. Sound like a plan? Excellent. I should mention there's a little bit of overlap here with some rulings we did for White Flare where they actually use cards from both sets. We won't be repeating them here. That seems like a waste of time. So let's start off with Roggenrola. It's got an attack for a single fighting energy that says during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon will not take damage from attacks unless it's more than 40 damage. It won't take 40 damage or less. Well, what if a Snivy comes along and Snivy hits for 30, double weakness is 60? Well, hang on a second, is it 30 and therefore it's stopped? Or is it 30 times 2 is 60, in which case it's not stopped? Yeah, it's not stopped. You still take damage because you have to see how much damage is being done before you then decide if you can block it with Roggenrola. By the time you block, it's 60. It doesn't work. Gutted. Sorry about that. But then we get to probably the biggest ruling so far, and it's very early on in the video. It's all to do with Eelektrik. And I disagree with this ruling. I don't like it. The question is, can you use the old black and white Eelektrik? Is that legal, given that the new one is an exact reprint, even down to the flavor text? No. No, you cannot. And I disagree with this. We allow reprinted trainers to be used. Why not reprinted Pokemon? And I'm going to go further, right? If you won't allow us to use a reprinted Pokemon, why make it an exact reprint? Make the attack do 60. Free energy 60 ain't going to break the card. It's still bad if it's free energy 60. Still a bad attack. But if it was free energy 60, nobody would be trying to reuse this. We'd all go, well, yeah, it's not the same card. They reprinted it with the same name, same HP, same ability, same attack, same retreat cost, same weakness, same flavor text. And then went, no, you can't use the old one. I don't get this. I'm fine with them not letting us use the old one, but if you're not going to let us use the old one, don't give us an exact reprint. Change a part of the card so it's not even a question. I dislike this a lot. Not a fan of this at all. There we go. Now we got a Volcarona. And it's got an ability that says once during your turn, you can discard a card from your hand to burn your opponent's active Pokemon. What if it's a fossil? Yeah, you're fine. We talked about this in the White Flare FAQ. Fossils are basic Pokemon, so you can use this to get a burn. Lovely. Well, can I put my fossil down? And specifically, it's the Caracosta fossil here, because that's the one that's in Black Bolt. Can I put this down as a basic Pokemon to begin my turn? No! You can play it as a 60 HP basic Pokemon, but it is not a 60 HP basic Pokemon. What that it is, an item card. What that means is, although you can play it as an item and it becomes a basic Pokemon, it's actually not a basic Pokemon in your hand, and therefore you cannot play it down as your basic to begin the game. By the way, I should actually mention, since we're here, it's Cover Fossil. That's what it's actually called, if anyone needs to know. Now, one very big ruling that is very important is the Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz has the awesome ability whereby once during your turn you can look at your opponent's hand, find a 70 HP or less basic, and pop it on the bench. And the big question here is, if your opponent's got a full bench, can you still use this ability? Because, of course, if you can use the ability, then you can still look at your opponent's hand, even though you can't bench anything. The answer is no. No, you can't. If they've got a full bench, you cannot bench anything, and therefore you cannot use the ability. Sorry about that. Never mind, eh? Can you use Mandibuzz's ability to bench a fossil? No. And it goes back to the ruling we just said a second ago. Although it can be played as a Pokemon from your hand, it is still an item card. So when Mandibuzz looks, it is an item card. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. Now, Conkeldurr's back in the set with the ability it had previously in the black and white era. Extra 40 HP for each fighting energy attached to it. What if you've got reversal energy on and you're behind on prizes? Do we count each energy? Or is it just 40 for the card? No, it's 40 for each energy. And again, the thing here is very simple. It says each energy, or each fighting energy. It does not say each energy card. That is very important. Now, something I talked about before, but it has now been confirmed in the FAQ. Meloetta's got an ability that allows it to attack turn 1 going first. Can it use TMs, like specifically TM Evolution, which I think is the one we're mostly going to want to use here, to evolve your Pokemon turn 1 going first? Yeah, of course you can. It's like I told you previously, the ability lets it attack turn 1 going first. This is an attack, you're good to go. Makes it a much better Pokemon. Nice to have the confirmation here. Now, a card which is actually sneaky seeing a bit of play over in Japan right now, we're going to need to talk more about this later, is Elgyem. Very cool card. Single energy, and you get to move one of your opponent's Pokemon, well, an energy attached to it, to another of your opponent's Pokemon. What about Mist Energy? Now, obviously, you can't move the Mist Energy using this. That's an effect of an attack. But can I use this to move the energy to a Pokemon with Mist Energy attached to it? Kind of. Because essentially, you can move the energy, but then you cannot move it to the Pokemon with Mist Energy because they can't be affected by an attack, so you discard it instead. I'm not sure how often that's going to come up, but you do need to know that one. Now, Zekrom here has got that really nice attack whereby you do a bunch of damage and you do an extra 50 damage for each prize card your opponent's taken, and then you take 30 damage onto Zekrom. Alright, what if Zekrom's got 30 HP remaining and your opponent hasn't taken any prizes? Can I use this to essentially KO Zekrom, give my opponent 2 prizes, and then do 230 because my opponent's taken 2 prizes? No. You do 130 to your opponent, you do 30 to yourself, then you check for knockouts. You check for knockouts after the attack has been resolved, and unfortunately that is when your opponent takes the prizes, so you'll do 130, not 230. Hey, can I use Amoonguss Call for Family to go and get a 2 basic Pokemon even if my bench is full? No! And that's actually relevant because there'll be times you just want to have a look at your deck. So it's essentially, can I use it to search my deck even though I can't get a basic? Nah, mate. Very similar ruling to what we see with Mandibuzz. We know it's going to fail, so you can't do it. Can I use this and look at my deck and not get any basic Pokemon? Absolutely you can. Because remember, the deck is private information, so you can't show your opponent to prove that, so you're good. You can just lie and say there's no basics in there. And can you use this to search for a Pokemon EX? Yes, just as long as they're a basic. What if I've got 4 bench Pokemon? Then you get 1 basic and bench it. Obviously, that one should be pretty easy. Now, we do have a new Amoonguss in the set, and if it's active, you get to search for a basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less, whack it straight on your bench. Lovely. Can you get a fossil? No! We know this. We know this. There we go. Seriously, fossils can be played as basic Pokemon, but they are not basic Pokemon. So all these abilities that affect basic Pokemon in the hand trash, whatever, don't actually work. I'm sorry. Now, Tympole's back, and Tympole's got round. And that means you do 20 damage for each Pokemon with the attack round. Does it count Pokemon in your trash? No, never been the case. always just Pokemon in play. I'm sorry. Never mind, eh? Hey, speaking of which, does it count itself? Yeah, of course it does. It says, this attack does 20 damage for each of your Pokemon in play that have round. Doesn't say other Pokemon, says number of Pokemon. With the no word other, that means you can absolutely use yourself. Now, there is a new Chandelure, and I'm an absolute sucker for Chandelure. What we got with Chandelure is an ability that's, well, an attack. Does 50 damage, but if you've got 10 or more basic fire energy in your trash, you do 100 more damage. Well, alright. What if you've got 9 basic fire and 1 prism energy in your trash? That counts, right? That's good enough. No! It's not a basic fire energy. Doesn't count. Grow up. Nah, it's got to be 10 basic fire. Sorry. Now, we do have an Amoonguss here. And what we got from Amoonguss is single energy, 30 damage, plus 120 if they're affected by a special condition. Well, if you've got multiple special conditions on there, can we have multiple times 120? No. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It's, if there's a special condition, they take 120 extra. That is it. That is all there is. Now, Serperior gets an EX, and that EX has a nice little attack here. 4 energy, and it does 150 damage, and then you can grab 3 cards from your deck and put them into your hand. Can I select no cards? No. You have to get at least 1. You can get only 1, but you have to get at least 1. And actually, while we're here, there is an ability on the Serperior that says your Pokemon do an extra 20 damage to your opponent's active. Well, if I've got 2, do I get plus 40? Yeah, you do. Generally speaking, with abilities like this, if it doesn't stack, there will be something in brackets specifically saying it doesn't stack. There isn't nothing, so it does. We are good. Some of these are going to be very big rulings. The Mandibuzz one and the Eelektrik come to mind here. And I'm going to say it again. The fact that I cannot use my old Eelektrik is shocking to me because they literally did a straight reprint. What's the point? Change a tiny bit about it, and then we don't even have to have the conversation. It is so weird to me that they went to all the effort of doing an exact reprint and then told us we couldn't play the old one. Don't get it, don't like it. There we go, that's what you need to know, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these rulings, tell me if any don't make sense, and if you've got any questions in the comment section, go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely It's a Coaster, who's a lovely dude who's been supporting for a while, so shout-out to them for, well, being lovely and supporting for a while. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.